Congratulations, Wyrd Mountain Gals.
Say what?
What?
Say what?
What?
200. Cruising up the parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's a Lord have mercy and a bless your heart. Party, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Party, come and listen to see Wyrd Mountain Gals on the party. Up on Wyrd Mountain, they done getting their kicks, jamming on the porch, just a hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. The party, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, take it from me. The party, come and listen to see Wyrd Mountain Gals on the party. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Nashville woods, to the Wyrd Mountain Gals neighborhood. Party, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Everybody, come and listen and see Wyrd Mountain Gals on the party. It's them Wyrd Mountain Gals on the party. It's them Wyrd Mountain Gals on the party.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Wyrd Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Wyrd Mountain Gals.
Hey, who's there?
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm Pink.
Friend?
I'm Pink.
Lordy, you are thinking you got all them crows behind you. What is that all about?
Well, they're flying around. That's my virtual background.
Well, it's very fancy. I really like it a lot.
Thank you. Actually, I love it. There was a lot of them that had a bigger, a bigger image of maybe a single crow. But the problem with it, I did not want to cover up. See, I don't want to cover that up with my big head. Yeah, I know, they've got some beautiful,
Sweet little young'un.
Yep, got all kinds of stuff like that, and it's so nice that, and it's really easy to change around, as you can see. Oh, I like this one.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see that one?
I can't
Oh,
now.
yeah. Now you
yeah.
can. Yes,
Girl and her crow.
yeah.
Y'all, we're having too much fun looking at her fancy new backgrounds.
Yeah. What I really want, I want that 360-degree eye pics of the porch, your porch, the real porch.
That would be fun.
I'll figure it out. You know, I've done, you know what the eye pics are, right? The realtors use them
Uh-huh.
round. And
Yes,
what it
ma'am.
would be is you'd take a photograph facing this way, and then one this way, and this way, and some four corners, and the software would knit together the rest of the room, and it did all these mathematical equations to make it look like you were zooming around, but you really weren't. It was highly complicated, and it was super expensive back in the day. It cost $1,200 to buy a license of 6 of those images, and
Oh my
if you
gosh.
screwed it up, you had to pay again. Yep, back in my day, back when. Now you can
Gosh.
do that with a phone, and it's no big deal now. So yeah, time moves on, doesn't it?
Yeah, I got all kind of sad when you said that time moves on. Yeah, I guess it does.
Indeed, it does. Those gals have seen a bit of it at this point. Some highs, some not so highs. And I've been there watching it all, helping in small ways and learning as much as I can. Do you remember this show? Neither one of them knew that it was COVID that would change the world and shake the towers. Alicia would soon be living at the little house on Wyrd Mountain, while the towers shook, just like Byron had written about. Huh. What about that?
Well, there's that funny thing, that social media thing with 1720 plague, 1820 plague, 1920 plague, 2020. All right, well, I guess I'm ready. And then here comes the, what is it, coronavirus.
Oh.
Yeah, plague.
Interesting. I'm going to have to look that up.
Corona. I keep calling it a coronavirus because I drive a Corolla.
Oh, yeah. Corona. Because the Corona
It's like the
beer Company had to come out with a tweet about it.
Oh, no, did they really?
Disassociating themselves with the virus and explaining, because people are that ignorant.
There's a recurring theme for you.
So, hey, Byron,
Hey,
this is the episode 200.
oh my Lord, is it even possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Believe me, I know it's possible. You can look
Golly
at my hard drive.
Well, you know, when we went into this, we didn't have any kind of sense of it lasting half this long, much less this long.
I know it. And we've had discussions about, well, are we done with it? And all of that. And we never have been done with it yet. So
We will I remember, was it last year or the year before? God, I think it was last year. We had a kind of beginning of the year, we had like an exit strategy. We were going to get to this point and just kind of wrap it up. And then we got to that point and went, well, hell, I don't know. You want to keep going? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I know. And now it's like, okay, this is just kind of what we do. And,
yeah, it's what we do.
And podcasts became a cliche since we were doing it. Everybody's got a podcast, is what they say. And us too.
You know what they say about opinions. Every asshole's got one of them. That's what they say, right?
We were going to have this format, and I was going to be like a sergeant and make her stick to it. Or she was going to be like a sergeant to me or something like that. But we were going to have a section for this, a section for that, section for this. And then what happened was we would get together and we'd be so happy to hang out together that we would just kind of ramble and we would forget about what we were going to do. And what we found out was that every time we would talk about going back to it, somebody would stop us and go, no, don't we like you to just ramble.
And ramble they did, week after week after week. 200 episodes later, and they're just hitting their stride. Way to go, ladies.
Ladies?
Hats off to you.
And did you wear glasses as a kid? I can't remember if we.
I started wearing glasses when I was 10. So I think it was 4th grade.
Gotcha.
Yep. But I only had to wear them to see the board at that point. But by the time I was 12, I had to wear them all the time. So I remember my boss at the bookstore, he always had eagle eyes, 20/20 vision. And as he got older, as happens to many people, he ended up having to get glasses, and he was just so put out and so just angry. And I said, look, buddy, I'd feel sorry for you if I hadn't been wearing glasses since I was 10 damn years old. So you ain't gonna get much sympathy out of me, and that is the truth.
Well, glasses are not so bad.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do without them, because that's the only way I can see.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I went to the first reunion, high school reunion, and I had a pair of glasses, and they were prescription, and they were blue metal frame.
Uh-huh.
And they came back, I thought they were, pretty cool, and had been wearing them for about a year or so. And the most popular girl in school, okay, beautiful girl, I'm not gonna say her name because she's still around, but she's a beautiful girl, and everybody wanted to be her, and she was just it, And she came up to me and she goes, oh, hey, Alicia. She said, well, look at you with your suit, your little glasses. And she was like, you're looking good. And I thought, that's either her being, really relentlessly sarcastic to me. Or something. But I discern like all this just dripping with sarcasm stuff. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Did I run that through the filter of I already had a certain opinion about their opinion about musicians and people like me, but then I think, nah, if I had just walked over to her table and sat down and started talking, she would have been like, ew,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear you.
Did you ever have any kind of thing like that happen?
Well, I was very lucky. My first 6 years through the 6th grade, I went, well, where I went, Emmanuel Lutheran. And it was a small class, and we all got along, and there wasn't a whole lot of, I don't remember a whole lot of bullying and making fun of people and all that, because there were so few of us. It really didn't make any sense to do that. But, once I got into middle school, or junior high, as they used to call it, once I got into junior high, oh my God. Oh, it was so hard. 7th grade was very, very hard. And then 8th grade was a little bit better because I had a posse by then. I had a handful of people, and we were all the weirdos. We were the artists and the musicians and all that stuff. So we still got teased and bullied and all that, but it's better, if you're not by yourself. It's a lot better.
And boy, has it all changed. I'm like one of those old people I used to train. So it's like, I want to keep my AOL,
Have you ever done it at the ocean? And by done it, I mean a Beltane celebration.
No, I have not done Beltane at the ocean.
There was a hilarious meme that came across social media that was Dolly Spartan.
No.
And it was like Dolly Parton, but dressed as a Spartan warrior. And I was like, hell yes, Dolly Spartan. That's right.
What was the size of her breastplate? Probably customs, I guess.
Back in my day.
To the Fae? With the good neighbors?
Did we just say that at the same time?
Y'all, I went to this, I won't say it real quick, I'm sorry.
I went to this funeral, and I'm expecting it to be one-time funeral, and it is a missionary Baptist funeral. And I know I sat there with my jaw hanging down like, oh my God, no, not another altar call. Not another altar call. Here you come, Jesus. Yes, I know him. He's in the car smoking some weed. Leave him alone.
I thought that was goodness.
Or it might have been the yard man, I don't know. We love you, Gomez. He's like, whatever. I've been drinking beer, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fine. I'm cutting all that out. Nobody needs to hear that.
If you had told me 20 years ago that I would be using that, and
the little old ladies, little 95-year-old ladies, oh, I got me some salve. It's so good on my wrist. What is it, Grandma? Well, it's some initials. I can't remember.
Some CBD.
Yeah, she's got some CBD. She's smoking a joint. Who knows what grandmas are going to be doing in the future? I don't know. You don't know.
Is that Granny with a bong? Granny looks weird with that bong.
How you doing, Granny? I'm good. I'm mighty hungry. You got some cornbread?
Granny's got the munchies.
Granny's got the munchies.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you know, Craig, please cut this out coming up, okay? But we used to have this running joke about this porno series that we found out about called Granny Was a...
Oh, no, I'm looking it over right now.
Oh, you might not want to.
God.
But it was a running joke. Sorry, Craig, I just had to tell her. And so every now and then,
God.
Craig and I'll still bring it up.
Yep. Granny was
Granny was
I tell you, some of them have been.
Too much CBD.
Well, I just, some folks just got to do what they got to do.
Granny's a lot more likely to take her clothes off in front of her friends if she's drinking than if she's doing CBD or marijuana. If she's smoking pot, she just goes sit in front of the TV.
There is so much granny porn. Oh my God.
Grandma porn is a thing. Well, we are talking about love right now, aren't we?
Oh my gosh. I don't even.
You don't cotton to that, do you?
I just can't even wrap my head around it.
I wonder if there's grandpa porn.
Oh, well, I don't know. Well, wait, let me find out.
Here's
Grandpa's, if Granny's a whore, what is Grandpa?
I'd just say grandpa porn. She's looking it up.
Grandpa. How about Grandpa? Oh my God. Oh, Craig, please cut all of this out. I can't even.
I need to find the YouTube video. God.
And that's how I got this tattoo.
I'll tell no one. Your secret is safe with me.
He's such
I know. It's just what it is.
To drive 26 occasionally. I don't now unless I just have to because I'm grumpy about it. I do like the song that we've done.
I do too. That's a great song.
We'll debut
that boy is so talented.
Yes. And he's been chucking them out there regularly with for a while now.
I remember it's been several years ago, this very nice woman with what I assumed was an Indian accent. She asked if I would take would I be willing to take a survey about breakfast foods? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And I went through this whole survey and I corrected her pronunciation. So when she would say something about frosted mini wheat cereal, I go, oh no, it's mini. But the big one, and we still laugh about it, my daughter and I do, was Bajel's are you a person who for breakfast will have a bajou? And I was like, whoa, bajou. Would you spell that for me? And she said, Bagel. And I said, oh, it's pronounced bagel, bagel. So I went through the whole thing and answered the questions and helped with the pronunciation. At the end of it, she said, you have been really kind to me today. It made me think about all the people she had probably talked to who had either made fun of her because she couldn't pronounce it, or they'd hung up on her, or they'd yelled at her, or whatever. But I just thought it was fun. And Basel was very interesting because if you look at it, that's the way. I mean, English is such a crazy language anyway.
English is crazy.
And
that sounds so sophisticated.
Doesn't it? Would you have for breakfast perhaps a bajou?
Like a bajou. Yeah. Yeah, baby.
I would have it with perhaps some salmon, perhaps. Anyway, she was very sweet, and I loved doing that. And I have the credit card that I have today because this fella called me late in the evening, and he called from Dublin, and he was with this credit card company. I was like, I don't really need another credit card. And so what's the weather like? And we were on the phone for like 45 minutes talking about Dublin and Irish culture and the language and what was happening in the music scene. We had this amazing conversation. and I said, I've kept you on the phone so long. I feel like, why don't you just go ahead and sign me up for that credit card? And he said, no, it's been my pleasure to talk to you and to talk to somebody who really loves Dublin as much as I do and all this stuff. But I still ended up with the credit card. But I got it just because we had such a great conversation.
Yeah, it was going to be, we'd have Appalachian News in the beginning, I think it was. And then we were going to have an interview every single time. And it's like,
yeah, I ran into my notes from when we were first talking about it, and we were so serious and ready. We had it scheduled the way we wanted it scheduled, and it was there's going to be 10 minutes of this and 20 minutes of that and a little bit of this, and then we're going to feature a musician every time. And
yeah,
we didn't do none of that ever.
No,
I mean, we have had guests, but it never was that organized. Lord knows.
No, it's always been kind of, we get information to people, and if we have a subject on our mind, then that comes out of our mouths. But, but the structure part of it, at this point, we've done it for so long that the most structured part of it is the beginning, where it's knock, knock, knock.
Right, or ring-a-ding-ding.
Or ring-a-ding-ding, or hey, we don't have to knock today. It's one of those.
We're both on the porch.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. In the process of 200 episodes, I don't remember them all. I don't even come close to remembering them all. It's a good thing to have 200 podcasts because it keeps you honest. Because I know that if I contradict myself, somebody's going to point it out to me instantly.
That's right. One of those careful listeners who are listening right now, and they're either cleaning or they're folding the laundry.
Love that.
Or, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was the other thing. I had estimated that most everybody who listened to us would be driving to work or from work, or riding the subway to work or from work. And I believe I'm not only wrong, but very wrong about that.
Well, it's funny because both of us have done radio. Mm-hmm. So when we started thinking about a podcast, we thought of it as a radio show, more than the way podcasts usually are done. And that's why it's WYRD.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is our own radio. This is the way we do it. It's not like anybody else, and that's fine.
It sure is not.
It's been a lot more fun than it has been sad or aggravating. And if I had it to do over again, I would do it over again.
Well, that's high praise.
It is.
What is happening to me? Someone turn me off. I think I'm blowing a fuse.
I want to tell them what I'm drinking right now because it's hot. And I've been
Drinking.
outside, I had to drive down and pick up more mason jar.
I love
And I got home, I was hot, and I put some ice in a glass, and I've got some of that seltzer water that is watermelon flavored. And I
get
put that in,
out.
and then I put some pieces of water. Then I put watermelon in it. It's
Get
delicious. I wish y'all
out.
were having it with me.
Guess what I'm drinking?
Watermelon seltzer.
Yes.
And does it have water? Do you have watermelon in it?
certainly does.
Oh my gosh, boy, we are birds of a feather,
Ah,
ain't we?
ah,
Holy
that's
moly!
that's weirdly cool. I've never drunk this before. It's just a little watermelon seltzer, like you said. And
Catch it
there
on,
was
catch it on sale? Because I caught this one on sale, and I thought, well, it can't be bad. I mean, it's watermelon.
this was 76 cents for this big thing of it. So I
Nice.
don't know if that's good or not. But I saw it and I thought, boy, that tastes good because it's been so hot. And I've been eating some watermelon and it's really good and juicy. And I had that watermelon juice and I thought, I'll pour that in there.
It's good. But honestly, then I have to pee. So this time of year, I eat so much watermelon. And then I'm up all night, like every 2.5 hours. I'm like, oh God, do I have to pee again? And it's because of this damn delicious watermelon.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's called watermelon for a reason.
Yes. They say it's one of the highest carb index values too, but it's you know what, if you're going to get sugar and carbs from something, get it from watermelon instead of a candy bar.
Well, absolutely, it's way better for you than that. But I have to say, I've never seen. I mean, I guess if I ate a whole watermelon, it might spike my blood sugar, but I've never seen it do it.
Yeah. Watermelons are some of my most favorite memories. We used to grow those great big giant ones that you don't see so many of those anymore.
And you get the big old slice.
Yes, yes. And we have it very cool. And I don't remember, it depended on where I was as to how they cooled it. But I will remember just put something plastic down on the table. And it's usually been a picnic table outside somebody's yard or carport. And we would go for it. I mean, watermelon was the treat, and always has been.
And spitting the seeds. And this one said it was a seedless watermelon, which I don't care for. I'd rather have seeds, but it had seeds in it. So, hooray.
Did they tell you, did you believe that if you swallowed the watermelon seed, you'd get pregnant?
No, ma'am, because I grew up in the country and I saw dogs do it and horses do it and cows do it.
I must
even
have
saw
been pretty
chickens do it. So I knew it had something to do with something else.
A lot of barnyard sex and animal sex in your past, and mine too.
And honestly, I think that was, and that's where you learn. Where I learned about birth and death too, was with critters. So that the old cat would die, the dog would get hit by a car, the beagle would have puppies and over in the corner. So you just learned about all that stuff in a way that felt really kind of wholesome and natural.
Yeah. Well, it was never really talked about or pointed out. That's what I should say. I'd hear them say something like something is, it's going to fall, or it should be having ducklings soon, or something like that, or this is that time of year. They might make some comment about that. But it never really got directly spoken about. But everybody saw it and figured out what it was all about at some point. And me too.
I remember my cousin had a dog, and what did he called her Blossom. And I called her Blossom, and my cousin said, that is not that dog's name. He just called her that because look at her rear end. And she was in heat. So it was like a little flower on the back of her body.
Oh, yeah.
Blossom.
Yes, I had an experience with our buddy Craig along those lines.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to ask him. I'm not even gonna go into it right now. But yeah, how did we even get started on that?
uh, you asking me if I believed if you swallowed a watermelon seed, would you get pregnant? You started it. It was you. It wasn't
Yeah,
me.
for once, I started it. I must have been pretty young, is all I got to say about that. But and I remember it was my neighbor who is now a teacher somewhere in Georgia, and she's the one who said it. No, don't swallow that. Don't swallow that. Because I think I told her I like to crack them open with my teeth and then swallow them. Talking about the seeds. No, don't
Uh-huh.
swallow. You'll get pregnant if you swallow them.
Oh Lord.
Yep. She might have just been making fun. Who knows?
Well, and I remember hearing when probably I was the same age you're talking about now. If you swallow your chewing gum, it's going to stick your intestines together and you'll die. You won't be able to poop.
Whoa.
And I remember hearing that and thinking, well, I don't think chewing gum would do that, would it? It's not that sticky. Huh.
Well, I wouldn't think so, but
I mean, I was dubious about everything when I was coming up. I was not. I say now, I said that to my friend today. I said, the thing that saves me all the time from having trust issues is that I got that moon in Scorpio on the ascendant, and I don't trust anything or anybody. So it makes it easy because nobody can disappoint me. I mean, they can hurt my feelings, but they can't disappoint me because I just look at them and go, well, I guess that's what you're going to do. Huh.
yeah.
So I try my very level best not to have expectations about other people's behavior or to be attached to the outcome of a situation.
Boy, spoken like a wise person. You know what I think
Spoken
about
like
that?
a Buddhist.
Yeah. And maybe you just have to get older to learn it. But there seem to be some people who know it pretty fast, but I wasn't one of them. I had to get older before I figured out that you can't force somebody to your will. Not if your will is to have them, not come to you or do whatever it is on their own. So I'm like that with my friends and with my life situations now. And I didn't used to be so picky about it, but I don't try like I used to.
Yeah, I think the thing is you can bend somebody to your will, but that's not a healthy relationship.
It always backfires in the end somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So I try not to do it.
By the way, it is called Plenty of Fish, not Kettle of
Plenty of fish. Okay. Not too damn many fish.
But I kind of like kettle of fish. That's a fine kettle of fish you got yourself in. How many boys are you dating right now anyway? Well, I don't know. I was on Mashable. I'm sorry. I'm on it now. So it's like I just saw Elite Singles, and they already want me to go ahead and register with them. Okay.
I have enough spam.
We ought to register for dating sites. Just for like a week and see what happens.
Oh my god! But make it a realistic profile, one that's like, I just don't give a shit, or another one that's like, hey, I'm up there in my 50s, I just don't have a sex drive anymore.
I'll do 64-year-old woman, bad teeth, great skin.
Questionable personality.
Very questionable. She is not in good taste.
Possible man hater. You don't really want to call, do you?
Oh, you don't want to call this woman. And there'd be people who'd be like, oh no, I know her.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The first honest dating site.
So Byron.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, if you would. So we know we were there. We know how we got started. What I don't know is how you'd like to end it. Would you like to end it with a bang, or would you like to just fizzle out a little bit, or would you like to just have it go on, or hand it to somebody else?
Wouldn't that be funny if we anointed 2 new Wyrd Mount gals.
Interesting, wouldn't it?
Huh. You know what? I ain't got another damn thing to say about Appalachian culture. I ain't got nothing else to complain about with the damn tourists, but I'm just going to go straight to that today because I was on all the roads.
Yeah.
All the roads in all of the town. And I'm just like, use your damn turn signals. What the hell is wrong with you? Do y'all not have turn signals on your cars in Georgia, so you don't know how you're supposed to behave in traffic? And slamming, here I am slamming on the brakes, doing the shrinking spell that I always do. And it's like, and then so I went through that kind of shaking my head like, I don't know. Anyway, shaking my head like, what the hell? And then somebody did the same thing, but in the opposite direction. I was like, I wish y'all had done that at the same time and just run into each other. Because neither one of you bothered to signal. And I would hope that I'd have enough time to slam on the brakes and not hit both of them. But that was my thing. I thought, I wish y'all had just run into each other. Dimwits.
And I wish that we could have a camera watching it at the same time.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you-
we're at a place right now. It used to be there'd be a cop or sheriff or highway patrolman or something pull your ass off the road and say, "Did you know what you did back there? Did you see all them people had to slam on their brakes because you were being a jackass?" Which, of course, they would never say it like that because that'd be bad. But now there is so much going on in Asheville and in Buncombe County. They can't be pulling people over because they didn't use a turn signal. They got fentanyl to deal with and meth and shooting people and all that stuff.
Robberies and all of that. Ugh.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that? Don't come here.
Don't come here. I mean, you can come here and visit.
Summer either.
Yeah. Come here and visit and then go home. Leave some money and go home.
Well, yeah. Take a short visit. Here's the thing. It used to be very specific times of year and you could bank on it. That this is up to the third weekend in October. Those weekends were going to be busy. July 4th weekend was going to be extremely busy. First week of August, things are going to die down while people start going back to school. And there was just things you could count on as far as the traffic.
Yeah.
Get it now. It's always a high tourist season. Always.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge the tourists coming here to see this place and appreciate this place, or they come here for their own reasons. I just am sorry that there's so many of them because it takes away from the place. They don't get the experience they were looking for. And,
that's right.
And it clogs up the road. So, but you can't really expect them to take a number.
But you know what? We could have, before we decided that all we really wanted was to fill up our saddlebags with money, we could have figured out what kind of infrastructure we were going to need to bring in 1 million tourists. We should have figured that out. But we didn't because all we could see was before our eyes were dollar signs flashing. Well, I got a crappy little hotel downtown. I'm going to paint that. And I'm going to start charging good money for it. And I'm just, ugh. Yeah. Oh, look, here we are again, our 200th episode. Let's just complain about tourists and the lack of infrastructure.
Yes. Yep. Well, we need to move on and complain about politics and church.
Oh boy, I'm always ready to do that. And I got to fess up that I had my first shingles shot yesterday, and I feel like I've been drinking corn liquor all day because my body is kind of achy all over, and the place where the shot got in, that's sore, but it's not bad. But I just feel achy, and my head is kind of lightheaded, and I just feel a little bit like I've been drinking off and on all day, and I have not. I've only had watermelon seltzer,
which is very refreshing, by the way.
It is very refreshing, and I'm enjoying it so much. Yeah.
Are you watching anything on TV lately?
Yeah, we've been watching this British. I'm gonna say it's a comedy, but it's really maybe I don't know. It's called Mum, M-U-M, and it was 3 seasons, and we're in the last season now. And it's about this woman who, it starts out, she just lost her husband. And her husband, they had a big family group, and then they had friends group. And so they're at the funeral and they're all kind of lamenting it. And her children and her in-laws are just awful. They are awful human beings. And they poke at her and it's just, but as we've gotten further into the show, there is something kind of sad and lost about them because she's just getting on with her life. She's at the age now where she I think she volunteers at a school, or maybe she teaches at a school, and and she's got a getting interested in an old friend of hers and her husband's. They've been friends forever and ever and ever, and he's always had his eye on her a little bit. So we get to watch that, but it is just so weirdly British. It's hilarious.
I'm done with it for a while. I am done with it for a while because it started being too easy to just sit down in front of TV and not have to think about anything and just let something else, do it all for me. And
Wally.
Yeah. Well, so I'm severely limiting my TV now. And the next thing on my list, the very next thing, because I've been told this so many times, I need to just do it, is a movie called Songcatcher. You ever heard of it?
It's good. It's good. I know some people that were in that. Yeah.
And I got told that today. One of our Wyrdlings had suggested that, and I thought, let me see. I'm just going to have to do that because I don't know how many people have told me I needed to.
Well, it's interesting, and it's not it's not a documentary. It's fictional. And some of the accents will drive you crazy. I promise you, they will drive you crazy.
Okay.
But the story is an important story to have.
Hi, this is Elsa, Queen of the Wyrdlings. We love the Wyrd Mountain Gals. If you love the Wyrd Mountain Gals as much as we do, please join us on our Facebook group, which is Wyrd Mountain Gals official Wyrdlings page. Wyrdlings is spelled Wyrdling. We have fun and contests and talk about all the things that the gals are up to. Plus, we get to know each other, and we'd love to get to know you.
When the roll is called up yonder. I love singing that one.
That's a good one, and that's not as common as you would think. When the roll is called
Is
up.
it not?
It is not, or at least when you sing, or when I would sing for a wedding, or excuse me, a funeral, I would be told what kind of music they wanted me to sing, and almost always it was Appalachian stuff. And so I sing a lot of that through the years. And then, what can you say? I haven't done it for probably 15 years now. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get back
Well,
to
and
it.
I keep saying, and we keep saying, we're gonna get together with Judy Rhodes. Hey, Judy. And I'm gonna get together with a couple other people. And I remember when I was up to my crack in crocodiles, and Sheila K. Adams said, "What are you doing tonight? Why don't you come on out here and sit on the porch and sing?" And I was like, if you'd given me maybe a day's warning, I might be able. And then to say, "I'm sorry, Sheila K. Adams, national treasure, but I can't come out there today and sing with you." It was awful. I love her, though. I love her so much.
She is a national treasure. I actually think Judy is too.
And no, absolutely she is.
Yeah. And her place is so beautiful. We need to get back out there and see what she's done with the grandma's place.
Her mama's place. Well, I guess it's her grandma's too, because she's got a compound. Yeah, she got in touch with me. It's been a couple weeks ago. And I don't remember. It was just one of those kind of drive-by things, like I was just thinking of you. Do you do that to people? Because I do that to people. I'll just think about, I think about my friend Sarah, and I'll just send her a little text message, just thinking about you. How you doing? Love you. Or little hearts.
Do it as much as I think it sometimes, because a lot of times I'll be thinking it in the car. when I'm driving, oh,
Yeah.
I need to blah, blah, blah. And I try to have certain people that I contact. I have a group of friends that I want to hear from them every year, make sure they're doing okay. And then I've got some that I want to hear from more often than that, a lot, and if they go for a period of time without contacting me, I'll usually contact them and say, hey, how you been? I try to always do that.
Yeah,
And
I do too. I do too.
COVID
I
taught
miss
me.
people,
I do too.
and there's people that used to be, 15, 20 years ago, they were an important part of my life. And I worked with them, or I did theater with them, or whatever. And I mean, they're still kind of around. Some of them have died, but they're still kind of around. But we just don't, we don't walk in the same, don't walk the same road that we all used to.
Right, like the Beatles song. What is that? There are places I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
That song. Yeah, I've noticed that. I think I seem to be one of those people who if you've been in my life, that's where you're gonna stay. If I put you there, that's where you are until you take yourself out, for sure. So I've got friends from kindergarten on, and they're actually my friends today. We talk to each other on Facebook all the time and all of that stuff. And so as I've gotten older, I'm lucky to have had more friends as time goes on. Very few of them are in that list of people that I just pay attention to all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I don't love everybody. It's because I have a limited amount of resources.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know that is. You know better than me. You know people literally from all over the world.
Well, probably not all over the world, but I know, I got friends certainly in the British Isles. I've got friends. I've got a friend in New Zealand. I got a friend in South Africa. I don't know a lot of people in South America, though, or even Central America.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I do have a friend in New Zealand and one in Africa too, that I met on Instagram. So he liked my mushroom photography. So I'm going back to that. I've been finding some of my photos and getting ready to post them. I used to get a tremendous amount of joy from doing the photography and posting it. I want to go back to that. I've got some friends there. Don't you love it when you meet somebody for the first time and you're like, instant click, we're going to be friends forever? And
yeah, I do love that. I mean, that's what happened with us.
yeah, absolutely. It was.
Yeah.
I was fascinated with you because I thought, I didn't know your background. Okay. And I can't believe that I didn't, but I didn't. I knew I knew that Asheville Village Witch was there, but I didn't know that you were Asheville's Village Witch, right? And when I met you, what came in my mind was she has secrets.
I do. I got a lot of secrets. I don't personally have a whole lot of secrets, but I keep a lot of secrets for other people. A lot of them.
That was the first thing that I thought. And that made me feel sorry for you because I knew that meant either you had some stuff in your life or you were the person that helped everybody in their life. And I basically met you at Mother Grove, as far as I can tell.
Is that when we met each other? Was it Nessa's Memorial?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. Huh.
And I remember we had that guy who was playing the song out of key that we had been practicing, and all of a sudden he was our guitar backup, and all of a sudden he was playing it out of key. And I remember looking at the other gal that I was singing with. She looked at me, and we were like, we both just went to the melody.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Yeah,
it's funny. I've been calling myself Asheville's Village Witch for a long time now, and y'all, you need to know nobody bestowed that title on me. I didn't win some popularity contest about all the witches in town lined up, and people chose me. I just went, well, I mean, I function like a village witch. I do all the baby blessings and house clearings and all that stuff. Bring people a jar of elderberry tincture if they need it. So I just, I just said that's who I was. And there's plenty of witches in Asheville.
There are.
And they are probably as much a village witch as I am. So it wasn't anything I was rewarded with. It's just something I claimed.
Well, but you are the village witch, okay? And you have been for years now.
20, maybe 20 years.
Mhm.
Long time.
It's a long time. And you've been doing the work for all your life, haven't you?
Well, kind of. I mean, I've been seriously doing the work for about 30 years. But I mean, I've been a witch my whole life, but all the rest of it, about 30 years. A little bit more as kind of a dilettante, where I wasn't so serious about it. I just kind of did some stuff.
I think as a witch that you're doing your work there too. And in some way you were getting ready for the place that you are now in town. And, I know there's a lot of demands on your time. I know there's a lot of demands on your time. I know there's a lot of emotional demands. I mean, when I get freaked out, I'll call you up, and never once have you said, I'm too busy to talk to you right now. Sorry. And you could get away with it. I mean, you could say,
golly bum, I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I did tell one of my publishers made me a lovely offer to do a short piece for a thing that's coming out in 2025.
Mhm.
And I had to turn that into her in August sometime. And I said, I got to tell you, I am promoting one book. I'm writing this other book. I'm still got a travel schedule that is just punishing. And I would love to do that for you. And I could do it in September, but I cannot give it to you in August. And she said, well, I understand that. Thank you. I mean, she was very sweet about it, but I would love to have done that. But I just don't have time. And I can't imagine saying to somebody who was in a lot of, pain or anguish or whatever, well, I just don't have time for you right now. Though I do try when people say, I really need to get a reading from you. And right now I'm just saying I'm not doing any readings until September because my time is just too tight. But I refer them to Raven and Crone and say, just call them. They've got a whole stable of good readers, and they'll find you one that will help.
They have some good talent there, that's for sure. And it's like right there. You can go in, get the things you've been needing to get. You can also go get some advice, and you can have some tea and smell something good. And all that.
Smell something. I like that.
I'm all into it. I'm all into the smells, What's the funniest? Do you remember what's the funniest thing you remember about the podcast?
Oh, I think it's that whole granny porn thing. Yeah. I still laugh when I think about that. And I remember looking at you and kind of squinting my eyes like, are you serious? Is that really a thing? And you went, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a thing. It is a thing. I've never seen you laugh like that before. That was the first time. Not the last time, but that was the first time
I laughed like a hyena.
And then you left and went, geez, I don't know about this girl.
Oh no. Then I went right to Google.
I know.
I went to my doctor yesterday and I asked him, because I get bone density tests every few years.
Right.
And he said, and he wrote it down. Well, you don't need, I don't think you need a DEXA next year. And I went, DEXA? And he said, yeah, DEXA, that's what the bone density test is called. And I said, is that like a Greek word? What is that? And he goes right over and he starts typing on his computer. And I said, are you Googling that? He said, oh, yeah. And then he told me what it was,
That's funny.
He's funny. DEXA.
Well, I think for me, one of the funnier episodes or stories that we have that it actually happened. It was Easter about 3 years ago, and Freddie Mercury, the cat that belonged to our neighbors, he slaughtered a baby bunny, and then he took it. He took it to the front door of his owner's place, and they were having a party, a little girl party, a little birthday party for their child, and it was Good Friday, so he slaughtered that bunny on Good Friday, and it was like, I wonder if they put it in the refrigerator, if it'd come back to life on Sunday or something. I don't know.
You rude girl. Oh my God, you are so rude.
I know, and I know that's a weird story to think is funny, but it was sad and hilarious the timing of it.
I saw a meme the other day, and it was way past Easter, so it felt, what the hell are you posting this for? But it was the Easter bunny, had his little short vest on and his little basket, and he had rolled the stone away, and Jesus was saying, "Thanks, bud, I owe you a solid." Yeah, we're going to hell. We are so going to hell.
The other day I got on one of those text conversation threads on your phone where there's about 5 or 6 folks there on it. And I've been having these conversations with these people for decades now, as long as we've all had text messages, and they have come to expect a certain standard of memes from me. And when they didn't get it on July 4th, somebody was like, "Hey, in the memes, where's our adult memes here? Isn't anybody going to contribute? Blah 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 blah." And I just typed out, "Hold my beer."
Oh no! And then you just flooded them, didn't you?
But I sent them some choice material, so they generally. I love shocking them. I love it. I love shocking them just like I love shocking you. So, because it's hard to do.
Well, sometimes things shock me, and I'm shocked that I'm shocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think, what? What's wrong with you?
How'd that get me? Yep.
Little cat dog jumping on the window. Little cat dog, little cat dog.
Well, Byron, it's been a weirdly cool, fun episode looking back and all of that. I don't know how I feel about. I feel a little older, but a little better.
I do, and I feel like a combination of excited because woohoo, 200, and then also think, golly, how many more will we do? Will we do another 200? Will we do one more? I don't know, but again, I'm not attaching anything to that. We will do it till we get tired of doing it, and then we'll stop. And that's just the truth of it.
I had a dream last week because I was thinking about this episode, and in the dream, I remember making plans for when I died, who could take over the podcast. And,
oh my God.
And it was like, no, it was like 20 years in the future or something like that. Yeah, it was the future. And the podcast had been going on for years and years and years.
Oh my God. So it's like Grand Ole Opry podcast. Oh Lord.
If Dolly told us to do that, would you do it?
If Dolly told us to do what?
To just keep doing the podcast forever, would you?
Of course, because it's Dolly. You know what I'm saying.
Patron saint of Appalachia.
Well, and now we have a double possibility of a contact, because y'all know our dream is to meet Dolly Parton, just to shake her little bitty hand with them long nails on it, and to tell her how much she means to us, and to thank her for everything she's done. That's all we want to do, and have our picture made with Dolly Parton. That's all we've ever wanted.
That's the best. I mean, we couldn't ask for anything more than that. That's the truth. Yeah.
So anyway, we've got 2 possible connections, but y'all, if you want to give us something to celebrate our 200 podcast, just figure out how it is we can go across the hills and see Dolly.
Yeah.
Dolly. And
not Salvador Dali either. Anyway.
Well, we can meet him, but he's dead, and Dolly Parton is not.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna get going. Try and figure out some supper.
Ha ha. I got
Getting
rice
good.
left over from last night, a little bit of vegetables. So I'm going to put in some more vegetables. I'm going to get that ready for the hubby to eat. And then I'm going to take me a little nap before this big meeting tonight.
Oh,
Yeah,
go
just
for
a
it.
little one, little
Me
hour
too.
nap maybe.
That's the
And then
best.
we'll
I love
see.
them.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
got,
work on a podcast.
and you're going to
So,
work on the 200. 200. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah,
200.
I want you to add some music that's like brass, lots of brass music and triumphal entry
Like
into
a heralding
Egypt. Yes, all that.
into
So it's
Egypt.
like who would ever believe those two numbskulls? 200 episodes.
We can't wrap it up without one more time saying how much we appreciate the listeners.
Yes.
Dang, we couldn't have done it and wouldn't have wanted to do it had it not been for their input, their ideas, all of it.
Yep. Yeah. And that little bitty group called the Wyrdlings, our little Wyrdling fan, which ain't little anymore. It's got hundreds of people on it. Well, 100 of people.
100 people.
100 people. More than 100 people, which just surprised the heck out of me.
Yeah, I know.
And I also let's also make sure that we thank Gomez the Yard Man, who is our deep voice, wonderful, calm, happy, everything. And also our buddy Craig, who really got us started technically, and then you took most of that over from him. And Selby, who is now also one of the Wyrd Mountain Gal folk.
It's one of the weird folk, Wyrd Mountain folk. He really is.
And Ilsa, who's the queen of the Wyrdlings, as she has self-titled herself.
Ilsa started out as the fifth Beatle.
Yes, she did.
and has, what was the next one? Was that the last one? Anyway, she went from fifth Beatle to queen of the Wyrdlings. I think she was like headmistress of the Wyrdlings or something like that.
I don't know. She's crazy, and so's Jay.
Yeah.
But we're grateful to all those people who, over these past years, have kept us buoyed up and felt like they really wanted to hear us say all this crazy crap we say every week and talk about death and tourists and food and occasionally sex and grandma
politics. Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah. We talk about many subjects, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Most of them are not suitable for work.
No, they are not. And I was going to say this morning we had that meeting about that thing, and I said, "Well, you know who lives up on Town Mountain Road?" And they all looked at me, and I said, "The governor. The governor has a house on Town Mountain Road." So I'm just going to contact his office and say, "Next time you're here, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go get some coffee, and I'm going to drive you by this pile of crap that your NCDOT is in charge of, just so you can see it, Mr. Governor."
Sure, he's had that conversation before, but yeah, you should.
Mhm. And he will no more do that than I will fly to the moon with my silvery wings, but it's fun to say. No, it's the Appalachian goodbye. So goodbye.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
that wasn't it. I mean, that's where we say goodbye for like 10 minutes. Anyway, but you're right. Goodbye. Bye, y'all.
See you for 201.
Yay.
Bye.
And the gals went on to talk recipes, fast cars, and how much they both love kicking down the patriarchy. I guess that's a wrap. We'll see you around the call. Until then, stay weird, y'all.
Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Weird Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have, so I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.
And when a witch says that, you better pay fucking attention.